battery problem, but we are now calling the Joint Budget and Finance Committee meeting and Committee of the Whole meeting to order. It is Monday, February 26th, and it's 3:40 p.m. Councilors, have you had a chance to look at the minutes from the last meeting?
Yes.
Is there a motion for approval?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The minutes from the last meeting have passed. Next is consideration of the consent agenda. Councilors, do you have any items you'd like to place on consent?
Yes, I have items.
Yes, Madam Pro Tem.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to offer the following items for consent. Item number 5 on page 2. Item number 13 on page 5. And item number 15 on page 6.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Abbott, do you have any items you'd like to place on consent?
I'm in agreement.
Okay, so that was item 5 on page 2, item 13 on page 5, and item 15 on page 6. Is there a motion for approval?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The consent agenda has passed. If your item was placed on the consent agenda, you are free to go. Otherwise, the first item is item number 4, and this is a grant submission requirements and grant agreement with the U.S. Department of Transportation Maritime Administration FY 2024 Port Infrastructure Development Program grant for the purpose of improving the movement of goods through ports in an amount up to $21,714,616 to rebuild a dock wall, replacement 2 cranes with new E-cranes, and to deliver a funding agreement with Watco Alabama Port Services, LLC.
Move the item. Second.
Good afternoon, committee. My name is
afternoon.
Colin Alexander. I serve as senior planner with the Birmingham Department of Transportation. So before you is a standard grant application resolution. This one is for an application from MERD, which is the Marine Subdepartment of the U.S. Department of Transportation. I believe it's the first MERD grant the city's ever actually applied for. It's part of the Port Infrastructure Development Program, which is one of the programs either created or expanded under the bipartisan infrastructure bill. The application is for just under $22 million to repair a seawall at the port that is has structural failures that need to be addressed. It's also going to replace the 2 cranes that are currently operating at the port. The youngest crane was built in 1947, and the oldest one was built in 1929, so they need to be updated. Watco, who is the operator of the port, is going to be partnering with the city, is going to be covering the 20% match for that application. The grant is due in April, and both Watco and the Port Authority are here to answer any technical questions if you have any.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, can you bring them up?
Absolutely.
Okay, can you introduce yourselves?
Good evening, everybody. David Russell Jr., Birmingham Discounted Port Authority.
Cody Gilliland, Watco.
Okay. Is there any additional information we need to know?
This is going to be a project that's going to really be pushing the port from a future standpoint, really pushing economic development. Having 2 E-cranes is really going to be more eco-friendly than the old diesel cranes we have out there now, and it's really going to allow Watco to expand their ability to attract new customers and increase the tax base that we have at the port. And the fact that they're going to do the 20% match is a huge investment that they're already doing, and not to mention they've already done the other 2 dock walls.
Okay, perfect. Councilors, do you have any questions? Ma'am, Councilor Abbott. Councilor Abbott?
Giant microphone on. The 2 cranes that are there now that are so old, will they be sold for scrap, or do they still function, or what do we do with those big giant cranes once we get new ones? Do we keep using them, or?
No, ma'am, that's a direct replacement to those 2 cranes. We're not sure what we'll do with those afterwards, but as of right now, there's no plans.
It could be in a museum,
They could be.
because 1929 was a long time ago. I just wonder, because it seems like the scrap value of something that big would be at least cover a little of that 20% match y'all are
Yes, ma'am, that's
so
true.
generously covering for us if we get the grant. And then the other thing about the seawalls that are structurally unsound, what will we replace them with? Would they be concrete once again, or will we have use some modern technology?
They'll be concrete.
Okay, well, those are all my questions.
Okay, thank you. Madam Pro Tem?
Yes, thank you. Counselor Abbott pretty much asked each question that I had. I wanted to find out about the cranes and then building the wall. Was this something to replace or to improve capacity, or is this because you can't operate without these? They're just so old, I'm assuming, that we need something better, and this will increase your capacity?
All of the above.
Okay, and again, very thankful about the desire to give the 20% match. I think that's very great, so I'm excited to see this happen. Thank you.
Well, I don't have any questions. Is there a motion?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the item passes. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Next item is item number 6. This is an agreement with Zoom Motorsports, under which Zoom shall manage and host the Indy Racing League event. The city shall provide incentives in an amount not to exceed $350,000 for a term up to 1 year.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm Michelle Inman, and I serve as the mayor's office accountant. And before you is an agreement to provide incentives for Zoom Motorsports of $350,000 for an event that they have scheduled for the weekend of April 26th through April 28th. And it is for the Indy Racing League event. And I have Mr. King here from Eventive Sports that can give you details if you have any additional questions about the event.
Gotcha. Can you give us just an overall
Yeah.
view of the event? Just a little bit more a little more detail, sorry.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. First of all, good afternoon, and thank you, Ms. Inman. So the event is held at the Barber Motorsports Park. It is Medical Properties Trust, which has, in a great partnership, has bequeathed that opportunity to Children's of Alabama. So again, continues to be able to support our children in this community. It's, again, going back to where it's held, it's the largest philanthropic project by the individual in the history of the state of Alabama. The facility, over 390,000 people visit. The particular event has over $23 million worth of economic impact, and it's something that we have collectively been fighting off the city of Nashville to be able to hold our date now for at least the last 10 of the 14 years that we're here. Also have with me Sandra Gonzalez, who is the partnership manager for Zoom Motorsports, and also have Tyra Tompkins, who's leading all of our workforce development questions that you may have.
Gotcha, thank you. Madam Pro Tem?
Yes, thank you very much. Excited to see this event remaining here in Birmingham. We would hate to lose it. I guess my questions were just centered around some of the names and name changes for some of the representatives. And so I wanted to be sure this is the same event, but just making different changes on that avenue.
Yes, ma'am. Exact same event that that we know, love, and been proud of for 14 years now. But yes, since we have undergone our change and rebranding since last time we've seen everybody face to face, we've gone from being Zoom Motorsports to being now an entity underneath what is called Troon, which is based out of Arizona. So that was probably something you saw in a press release around the first week of January. But Eventive Sports, still the same folks. Zoom Motorsports operating out of Barber. And then our new parent company, which is now giving us more reach, so we're starting to get excited about trying to figure out what that means for our greater community.
Perfect. And the medical properties and then proceeds, I think, helps Children's of Alabama. Is that correct? Same within that?
Absolutely does. And for any particular amounts, I think it's about $350,000 last year that benefited Children's of Alabama directly. So that's something that, and that was in its first year. So we're really starting to have this entire runway to be able to figure out more and more that we can be able to support Children of Alabama via this great partnership and event.
And one last question. You talked about the economic impact of the 23 million. Does this include, are there TV rights for this, or is this going to be, again, I think NBC or somebody, so we get some national coverage, correct?
International.
Okay.
Yeah, that part, right? So it's again, everything that we've done as a great community, it's being broadcast live on NBC internationally. I think it's up to maybe 80 countries now. So again, it turns into a great, great commercial for our great community and all the progress that we've made.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you, Counselor Abbott.
I was curious to know, over the 14 years that this event has been in Birmingham, even though people think it's in Leeds, but how has the attendance been? Has it been level? Has it increased? Has it decreased? I know y'all keep records and we just haven't seen them.
Okay, and that's one of the things that what we'll do is I think let's all get in the habit of being able to give after reports to be able to present to this council, because it's one of the things that once we're building with John Orals and his team the economic impact. But last year was close to 82,000 people that visited the park over that entire long weekend. So we have started to see it start to tick up more and more, which has become one of the tourism darlings for the area, because people are starting to build vacations and their plans around it.
Well, I guess we need a couple of motels out there, hotels and some.
And I think you said the key, Council Abbott, which is it's every opportunity to remind everybody that is Birmingham.
Yeah.
Nothing against our friends in Leeds, but that is not Leeds. That is Birmingham. And that's one of the things that about having international TV and all the things that we do with workforce development and ramping that up is making sure that everybody understands that that is in Birmingham proper.
Truly it is. Well, there was one more question, and so you said that last year $350,000 was raised for Children's Hospital, and we're giving $350,000, so we could just give it to Children's Hospital.
Well, well, you know what? We want to be able to come back with a report to say that we are increasing what that amount looks like, but these dollars have always been used to help offset the multi-million-dollar sanctioning fee that IndyCar continues to be able to ramp that up. And the really cool thing I'll say in summation is that we have always been that last date before the Indy 500. So that's something else that Birmingham gets attached to that people know across the globe.
Well, I was here for the first one, and one of the things that I remember most in my time on the council was getting in that Indy car and being driven to 5 Points South in 10 seconds.
Yes.
Scared the living life out of me, and I was so amazed that the city would allow somebody to drive that fast in the city, but there were lots of policemen out there.
Yeah, the ones that we've done on the two-seaters, they are street legal, but there are requisites, and then we want to make sure, again, especially that we're safe going down the thoroughfares here inside of Birmingham.
Well, they only did it once.
That's all it took, right?
That was the first year. Yeah, the only thing that was scarier was jumping out of an airplane. So,
Oh, wow.
so thank you.
You
No,
did that
thank
as
you
a
so much.
counselor, jump out of the airplane?
Yeah, it was a fundraiser. And a lot of council members said that they would jump, but only 2 women on the council actually showed up.
Oh, y'all were a fun council. Okay,
Not that we weren't scared.
gotcha.
Thank you.
Well, I really enjoyed going to it last year. It was a great event, great for the kids. It was packed out, so I really appreciate you guys for operating a really smooth and successful event, because that's, y'all take these huge events and y'all just make it seem like it's nothing. So I really appreciate it. And thank you for emphasizing that it's in Birmingham. You know, I think a lot of times people take credit for a lot of stuff that happens in the actual city of Birmingham. So do you guys have any more questions? Is there a motion?
I move
Second?
approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The item passes. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much for the support. We appreciate it.
Next item is item number 7. This is an agreement between the city of Birmingham and Magnet Forensics, under which Forensics shall provide hardware, software, professional services, and ongoing maintenance and support services related to its grade key and AXIOM products for a term of 1 year. The city shall pay them an amount not to exceed $18,055. Okay.
afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I serve as the Deputy Director of Enterprise Systems with the IMS Department. My name's Annette Harris. This software is for the Police Department. What questions would you have?
Counselor Abbott?
I didn't have any questions, so it
Madam
must
Pro
be
Tem? No?
Adam.
Well, that's very odd. Well, we don't have any, so.
Thank you.
Okay.
We're glad to see you again.
Yeah, glad to see you. Is there a motion and a second?
Move
Move
the item.
approval. Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The item passes. Maybe we just wanted to hear it. Item number 8, this is the Birmingham Police Department to host and conduct a firearm safety training on March 2nd, 2024 for interested residents of the city of Birmingham who are at least 21 years of age. And the training will be provided free of charge. All citizens who participate must sign a release and waiver of liability form and provide their own ammunition and qualified handgun.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm LaQuaylin Parmack. I serve as the Assistant Chief.
Okay. Is there any additional information we need to know about this event?
Did you receive the flyer that we sent up? Okay.
Yes.
So it's a public event. We're just inviting community members out. They want to receive training on firearm safety.
Counselor Abbott?
Well, my big question when I was reading the agenda was, why do y'all put it on budget and finance at the last minute? Because if a person was going to plan to go and learn to shoot their gun, it would be great to know about it more than a week ahead of time, just in case your calendar is very full.
Yes, ma'am. We have several events throughout the year. And so this one is actually in conjunction with the separate event that we're hosting on Friday. So we just wanted to make sure that we did notify the public.
Okay, well, on this flyer, the RSVP is cut off. It might just be mine.
I apologize. It was the
So,
printer.
how do you RSVP in case you can get your gun and your ammunition ready in time?
BPD events, Bravo, Papa, Delta, Echo, Victor, Echo, November Tango, at birminghamal.gov.
Okay,
Uh-oh.
good, thank you.
You said you stopped at Tango.
Oh, yes, I should have had Sierra at the end of Tango. I apologize. BPD events at birminghamal.gov. Thank you.
Gotcha.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Madam Pro Tem?
Yes, thank you very much. My question was going to be, how often do you have this type of event and the frequency of it? This won't be is this the only opportunity for the public to do this, or this ongoing through the year?
Normally it's twice a year,
Okay.
and sometimes more frequently, but typically it's twice a year.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Counselor Abbott?
One more thing, could we approve 2 at a time so we would know 2 dates?
So there's no limit on how many dates you can go, but we do the slots. We typically cut it off at 20, so we don't want more than 20 people at one time, just to make sure that we have the ratio to our instructors.
Were you asking about 2 events?
Well, yeah, like us approving more than 1 at a time so that we know the date that's next week, and then we also know the date that's in 6 months.
We will get that second date published. We have a few other events. We're kind of competing with some different dates, so we don't want to advertise too far in advance. But yes, ma'am, I understand.
Okay, just send me an email next time. I mean, I've only fired my gun once and I've owned it for 30 years, so. Well, it's good that I've only shot it once, I guess.
We'll coordinate with Chief Mitchell.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Madam Pro Tem, do you have any other questions? Okay. Is there a motion and a second?
I move approval.
Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye, the item passes. Thank you. Next item is item number 9. This is the Jefferson County Port Authority will contract with the owner and operator of the Port Authority terminal for installing a 6-inch tap on a 6-inch cast iron water main in the Warrior River Water authority service area to support construction of a 25,000 square foot warehouse facility at the Birmingham Port Terminal. And the city will pay BJCPA an amount not to exceed $188,000, $20 for such services.
I move approval.
Second.
All right, good afternoon.
Afternoon.
My name is Chris Hatcher. I proudly serve as Chief Community Planner in the Mayor's Office for the city. And pretty much just as you described in the description, this is funding a contractual agreement with the Port Authority to install a 6-inch water main to service the new Porter Terminal warehouse. And I have representatives from the Port Authority and WACO here if you have any more technical questions.
Gotcha, yep.
Okay.
Come on back up.
Good afternoon, David Russell, Birmingham, Jersey County Port Authority.
Cody Gilliland, Watco.
All right, Madam Pro Tem?
Yes, thank you very much. Just sort of the same type questions as before. I noticed that this cast iron water main, this is to support the construction of the warehouse facility. Is that already started, any type of construction, or is this a piece that would help to further cement us being
Yes,
us being able to build this, or mostly interested in capacity, what you have currently, and how this is going to help you?
Yes, this is the last piece of the puzzle to get us started on that building that warehouse. This so we will be in compliance. So we cannot build a warehouse until we have this water main for any fire hazard issues.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Council Abbott?
No, I don't think I have any more questions aside from that one. Which comes first? I know you can't do anything without water, but you have a whole river.
That's correct.
Okay.
I don't have any questions, so.
I don't either. Is there a motion and a second?
Yeah, I already made a motion.
Oh, you did? Okay, I'm sorry. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The item passes. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Next item is item number 10. This is an agreement between the City of Birmingham and Master Solution LLC in the amount not to exceed $85,000, under which Master Solutions will provide professional consulting services to leverage relationships with other governmental entities, nonprofit and for-profit organizations across the city and the state. Okay.
Second.
Good afternoon again.
Good afternoon.
All right. As you know, I serve multiple hats. In addition to trying to move your ARPA funding, I am responsible for developing a strategy and working with our, quasi-judicial governmental partners, for-profit and non-profit partners in order to pursue competitive grants through the bipartisan infrastructure bill legislation and the Inflation Reduction Act. I'm just one person right now, and I can't do it all. I hate to say that. I like to think I can do everything, but I can't do it all. Mm-hmm. So what we have done is done previously is we contract with Master Solutions in order to take that task off of my plate and to help facilitate communication and strategies, coordination with the various organizations that we are working with to pursue these federal grants. And I think we've been really successful over the past couple of fiscal years in pursuing these grant opportunities and bringing these federal dollars down to the city.
Okay. Thank you. Council Abbott?
I'll try my microphone. So what will Master Solutions be doing? Will they be grant writing or?
No, more straight, they do work in conjunction with Levitate Legal, our grant writers, in order to work with these organizations. They more so work with organizations like the Port Authority, the BBA, Housing Authority, Birmingham Water Works Board to identify mutual opportunities to partner on these grants. Once we meet
identify mutual opportunities. We then coordinate with our grant writing teams, with our grant writers and the other organizations' grant writers to hopefully draft a successful grant application to submit to whatever federal agency we're applying to.
Okay, so they bring to the table partners that we will be working with to
They bring to the
pursue,
table.
pursue the grants?
Yeah, they bring to the table, they help coordinate identifying common grant opportunities that we want to pursue that are mutually beneficial to both the organization and the city of Birmingham.
Okay, and which federal programs, is it just two, or is it every?
Those are the two federal programs. They also help identify opportunities with state funding as well. We have an opportunity with the new siege legislation that is coming up for, expanding or improving potential industrial sites that, we are setting the groundwork for them to work on right now to pursue those activities.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Pro Tem?
I guess my question had been, the source of this, is this ARPA funding or is this city funding? Is it come our general fund or?
It is ARPA funding, and it's from the city's revenue recovery category, which is, as you all know, is a different pot from the dollars allocated to the council of ARPA funding.
That's the direction I was going, because I was just trying to see, because I was really surprised when this first was presented to us, that this could be a resource for getting this type of work done for us. Because I was thinking it was going in a different direction.
Right.
But if you're saying this is more partnering with certain entities that would go in with us on these grants.
Right.
And so what I'm hearing from the partners that you were trying to secure, you're talking Waterworks, you said BBA, any other entities like that?
Airport Authority.
Okay.
If there are any additional opportunities with that are outside of choice, but in conjunction with community development, we'll be talking to the Housing Authority, of course, the Transit Authority, and like I said, identify other opportunities to draw down funds to Birmingham at the state level, and inclusive of partnering with the private sector and nonprofits.
Okay, thank you. That's my question.
Okay. How much money is left in that line item for the recovery loss grant match?
That's a loaded question.
Can you
I don't
give it to us?
I don't have the figure right now, and I'm going to say that there are some projects that are revenue loss that we have to reassess because we've allocated the funding, but for whatever reasons, monies haven't been spent or are drawn down yet. So we need to go back and do a sort of reallocation of, okay, is this still feasible or relevant so that we can potentially reallocate those funds? Because as you all know, we have a upcoming deadline at the end of the year that we have to have all these funds obligated.
Gotcha. And Madam Pro Tem, I would love to have a report on that reassessment so we can know when that's done, just so the council can keep abreast about that. Because we know about like our projects, but we don't know about the mayor's side of the projects.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any more questions, Councilor?
Just one. I would like to see Birmingham become a leader in environmental issues, getting away from all of these fossil fuels. And is there any way that we can pursue some grants that will help us to improve the city? Even if it was planting trees all over the city to cool it down. I mean, it doesn't have to be that we're going to compete with Alabama Power by putting solar on every building we own, but, it seems to me that we need to come into the 21st century and not be our usual tail at the end of the dog.
Right. And that's well underway, Councilor. The mayor has established the Office of Resiliency and Sustainability. We are pursuing a number of grants dealing with greenhouse gases and pollution reduction. You know, we also are working with various counselors to use some of our ARPA dollars to, you know, plant trees, do tree canopy, you know, I guess urban heat island reduction type projects, green infrastructure. So those activities are moving forward. There haven't been any big announcements yet because some of the grant opportunities are still pending, but we are working on those to kind of drive it, bring us in the 21st century, as like you said.
Yeah, because I feel like we're not doing anything with recycling. Huff doesn't exist anymore, but we used to plant trees all over the city. We gave that up. We've given up a lot of environmental work we were doing, but it just seems like there might be some grants out there in this arena that we could.
There are, and you know, one of the main tenets of the Inflation Reduction Act, even though you can't tell from the name, is more investment in green infrastructure and resiliency. Hence, you know, inflation reduction. There are a lot of tax credit laden, tools within that legislation to entice not only cities, but, you know, get the business community to invest more in renewables and in energy efficiency.
Okay, good, thank you.
Okay.
Are there any more questions? Okay, well, there's been a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any abstentions?
And I need to abstain, thank you.
Okay, this, that item has passed with one abstention. Thank you, Mr. Hatcher, always. Next item is item number 11. This is an agreement with the Central Alabama Redevelopment Alliance, under which Central Alabama Redevelopment shall coordinate and provide marketing and outreach support for public input sessions with community leaders through the Woodlawn Community Council and with business owners through the Woodlawn Business Association for a term ending on June 30th, 2024, and for an amount not to exceed $25,000.
Move the
Move
item.
approval.
Second.
Okay, Chief? Or is Jeff? Sorry, Mr. McDaniels. Council Abbott, did you have a question?
Well, I was just wondering who these folks are and what they're going to do. I mean, I realize that it just says public input sessions with community leaders. Which ones? And what are we going to accomplish, or what do we hope to accomplish?
Madam Chair, Councilor Abbott, I don't have the answers to that, but if you want to table the item, I can get those questions answered from President O'Quinn.
Yeah, I was just curious. I don't want to vote against it. I just want to know what we're doing.
Same here, thank you.
Well, we can always table it.
If you table it, I'll get the questions answered.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll just table that item for the end of the committee meeting. So, okay, moving on to item number 12. This is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute various agreements with various vendors in an amount not to exceed $4,000 per neighborhood association for the registration of neighborhood officers, neighborhood association committee members, or neighborhood volunteers, not to exceed 2 attendees per neighborhood association to attend either the 2024 NUSA conference from May 22nd to May 25th, 2024, or the 2024 Main Street Now conference in Birmingham from May 6th to May 8th of this year. Registration shall also include up to 10 community resource services staff members for each conference attended. Attendees representing neighborhood associations cannot attend more than one conference in a calendar year. And these events will serve to educate and train the neighborhood volunteers and CRRs on a vision of communities and provide information that will benefit those seeking resources for community and economic development within the city of Birmingham. Said funds to come from the respective neighborhood associations.
I move approval.
Second, and I just wondered, did we need to call 14 as well as sort of we're giving opportunities for our neighborhoods to?
Example? Okay.
Is that okay?
Okay, and this is for the 2024 Reclaiming Vacant Properties Conference in St. Louis, Missouri, from October 9th to October 11th, 2024. And this is an amount not to exceed $2,500 per attendee, including registration for up to one member from each of the communities, represented by the 23-member Citizen Advisory Board, and up to 10 Community Resource Service employees of the city of Birmingham. The cost of registration for each attendee is not to exceed $75, and this will seek to educate and train neighborhood officers and CRRs. Said funds come from respective neighborhood associations.
Move the item.
Second.
Okay, I think Ms. Williams, Chief.
Good afternoon, Alice Williams. I serve as Deputy Director of Community Resource Services. Yes, ma'am.
Ready, Council Abbott?
Yeah, so we have 3 different conferences or meetings that residents can attend from the neighborhood association, but you can only go to
Attend one. Yes,
So you
ma'am.
have to pick
Yes,
amongst
ma'am.
these 3, which
Yes,
one will
ma'am.
be the best.
We're also allowing neighborhood associations for the one in St. Louis. That's limited to community leadership. So that's members of the CAB, the 23 officers. So we're trying to limit that one because this will be the first time for that conference.
Okay, so neighborhood association officers would not be included in that one, only CAB members?
If they're community leaders. So if you can be a community president, secretary, or vice president, you can attend, but just regular neighborhood association officers, we're just trying to limit it to the 23. And so, yes, ma'am.
Okay, but not for Noosa and Main Street, just
No,
for that?
anyone can attend
the
that
other
one. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Madam Pro Tem?
Well, I just want to thank you for providing this opportunity, this variety of different opportunities to learn and to grow and to bring that information back to the city. So I was very encouraged to the neighborhood meetings that I had attended where you were already putting this out there or telling them what's to come.
Yes,
So very good. I did just want to know, I didn't look at the timing of each meeting, so I'm assuming there's a cutoff where you'll be able to monitor who has been and who hasn't been.
Yes, ma'am. We have a cutoff date for February 29th is our last day. So we've been busy all day today receiving packets. So we try to compile those and make sure they're in line with what our requirements are. So we do have February 29th. We'll probably end up getting 1 or 2 after that, but that's our deadline.
Okay, thank you.
I know I attended the Reclaiming Vacant Properties 2 years ago, because every 2 years, and it was super beneficial. I think it was myself, Councilor Clark, Councilor Woods. I feel like I'm missing someone else, but I'm really glad to see some community leaders are coming.
I think it'll be great for them. Yeah.
Yeah, so, okay. Well, there was a motion and a second for both items. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Items 12 and 14 are passed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is item number 16. This is an ordinance to amend the general fund budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2024 by transferring $96,848.07 from Parks and Recs miscellaneous revenue and appropriating $96,848.07 to non-departmental transfer to Fund 102 Capital Improvement and amend the capital fund budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2024 by appropriating $96,848.07 to Public Works Deferred Maintenance Program Highland Park Golf Repairs.
Move the item.
Second.
Yeah. Okay, so just long and short of it is these are just insurance proceeds from a claim that we did from a pipe that burst at Highland Golf Course. So these are the insurance proceeds that we will use to make those necessary repairs.
All right, Councilor Abbott.
Well, I was hoping that this was going to cover all of the complaints we keep getting about the tennis courts up there.
No, this is related to a pipe that burst.
Okay, well, aside from burst pipes, do we have any plans to do anything over there?
We actually do. I know Mr. Brandish is here, but we actually have a proposal from a company to do the resurfacing at the tennis courts. I know this is not an item, but we're working diligent with that vendor to try and get that before the council because it's over the $10,000 threshold.
Yeah, and all I wanted to know is whether there's hope.
Oh, yeah. we're-
And whether somebody might inform us of what's going on?
Yeah, we're working with purchasing,
Because-
because you can speak on it, because I know we've been talking about it for a couple of months.
Yeah, I mean,
now.
I could give them your number, but I don't want to do that to you.
Yeah, they got my number.
Good evening. Charles Brundage, I serve as the facility manager here for Park and Recreation.
Okay, so the burst pipe, I heard about it because the neighborhood meeting had to meet down in the
Intensive.
basement, whatever it is, ground floor. So all of the damage from the burst pipe was covered by the insurance?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we just paid the deductible, and then what's before the council now is just the funding that we need to start making those necessary repairs. We're already making repairs. It's just, this is the fund to reimburse ourselves.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I thought it was because all those tennis court complaints. Not that I don't want water damage to be fixed, but, But that's all, that's all my questions, because it's really not pertinent to the item that we're talking about.
It's okay. Madam Pro Tem? No questions, thank you. Okay. Well, there's been a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. That item passes. Thank you. Next item is item number 17. This is an ordinance to amend the general fund budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2024 by transferring $2,638,492.38 from general fund miscellaneous clearing, appropriating $2,638,492.38 to non-departmental transfer to Fund 103 Neighborhood Revitalization, and to amend that budget by appropriating that amount to the Office of the City Attorney, funding sources, settlement funds.
Second.
So, Madam Chair, this is just accepting the funds that we got received from a settlement from the opioid settlement fund that we were both, technically we were on a lawsuit where we sued Walmart, Johnson & Johnson for opioid litigation. These are some of the funds that will be coming into the city. And so what we're doing is moving the funds to our neighborhood revitalization fund. So OCA and Mr. Attorney King can use these for problematic things for DNAT and other things of that nature.
Okay.
Because they have to have a specific use for these funds. So we wanted to separate it from the general fund.
Okay. Madam Pro Tem?
Yes, thanks for clarifying that, because in our D7 Town Hall, there was a presentation about DNAT, and there was some questions among residents, how is it funded, or what do we get these things for? So this is very good. Is that primary source of what those funds are? I know we've had some other things with them.
Yeah, she has a list that, I think the federal government said that the funds can only be used for certain things and certain activities. And so DNAT falls into that category, and because it's so successful, we want to kind of keep it in that realm. But, we can provide that to the council to let them know what the funds can be used for.
Thank you. I would just like to know more about how we're utilizing those and what we're getting for that, what results.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, Council Abbott?
Well, and I was curious about that too. I think the DNAP program is a fantastic program, but I keep on wondering to myself, how many success stories do we have that we can talk about that aren't tied up in court or something? But I know that lots of folks in the neighborhoods want nuisance properties cleared up, especially the ones involved with drugs. And so you always want to be able to tell people about all the successes you've had, so they know that they're in queue to become a success.
Yeah, so the funding is helping her stand up that division, especially working with BPD. Now she has 2 officers on staff that will be going out with the different attorneys as we do these drug nuisance abatement properties. So it's a slow burn, but it's getting there.
Well, yeah, if I was one of those people, I'd want a policeman to go with me.
All right, yeah.
So I think that's great.
Yep. Okay. Well, there's been a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. That item passes. Next item is item number 18. This is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a development and program funding agreement pursuant to ARPA between the City of Birmingham and Southern Research Institute to respond to the far-reaching public health and negative economic impacts of the pandemic, under which the Southern Research will develop a unique public health data system program to connect personalized medical data, including genomic, transcriptomics. There's a lot of words in here. We're dealing with science, and creating over 50 new jobs over the next 5 years. And the city will pay the Southern Research from pursuant to Amendment Number 772 from monies received by the city from ARPA, amount not to exceed $5 million to support the program. Second, I haven't seen some of these words in cell biology.
Good afternoon again. Chris Hatcher, I serve as the Chief Community Planner, City of Birmingham. The Genomics Diagnostic Lab is a planned joint venture between Southern Research and UAB to strengthen and expand patient diagnostics testing capacity in Birmingham. The Genomics Diagnostic Lab will be established as an Alabama nonprofit that is governed by Southern Research and UAB and will operate as a reference testing facility, providing diagnostic testing capacity not only for UAB, but for other area hospitals, including Children's of Alabama, Ascension St. Vincent's, the VA, and others, and will allow the Birmingham area hospitals to obtain lower cost, fast turnaround tests for patients to bring robust precision medical care to patients. So I have Dr. Brown here from SRI to speak to any technical aspects of the projects that you may have.
So which category of ARPA funds is this coming out of?
Okay.
How does this justify as being ARPA?
Okay, yes, this comes out of the same pot of ARPA funding that your projects come out of. So it is revenue loss, it's non-revenue loss funding, and it is, it is eligible, it's a allowable use, and I'm thinking of the allowable use is 1.14, which is negative public health prevention other. Yeah.
The allowable use is negative.
It's to address, it's an allowable use under ARPA, but it's allowable because it's meant to address negative impacts due to COVID. And in this one particular category, 1.14, it is addressing direct public health interventions, excuse me, I think that's a point.
I was trying to look it up.
Okay, and where will this lab be located?
I will let Dr. Brown.
Hey, I'm Dr. Khalila Brown, Vice President of Medical Affairs and Patient Advocacy at Southern Research. So the question was, where will the lab be located?
Yes.
So we will be sequencing on the second floor of what is currently the Fruha building at Southern Research. We're in the process of scoping out renovations for that area.
Okay, so the $5 million will go to renovate the building space, or it will go to actually providing services?
So the $5 million will actually go to positions that are slated to do this work. So we estimate that we'll have 50 new jobs in the city of Birmingham throughout this project. 10 of those are funded through this application, as well as 6 what's called Catalyst Ambassadors, which will be students from local universities here in Birmingham who will be trained similar to community health workers, and we'll use that as both workforce development for them to learn how to advocate, educate around public health, around genomic sequencing, precision medicine within their community. They'll also receive some professional development alongside our regular internship program as they participate.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Pro Tem?
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for that synopsis of what this will be. When it said 50 new jobs, will all of these jobs be these Catalyst investors or working with, or this just a multitude of jobs? That was just one example of the jobs be, will all 50 jobs?
Yes, so it's a multitude of jobs. A good number of them, about 10 of them will exist in my department, which is medical affairs, which is all about physician and patient engagement, education within the community. About 15 to 20 of those jobs will be along the data side, which will really deal with securing the data, putting the data in a format that we can then use it for two separate things, for clinical trial enrollment eligibility notification, to allow patients to have electronic notification when they're eligible for a clinical trial. Typically, the way you're notified of your eligibility now is really if your provider knows about it or you see a flyer somewhere, maybe you see an ad on social media, but we know that there are a lot of residents within our state who would be eligible for clinical trials, and there would be an improvement to their clinical care. They just aren't notified about it. So this platform will allow us to have digital eligibility notification for patients to then make an informed decision with their provider whether or not they would like to participate. It will also help bolster research and drug discovery in our area. So we'll use that data to say what's going on in Alabama and how do we build things in Alabama for Alabamians.
Okay. And I was also hoping, and I think you may have touched on it, we know what the history has been with clinical trials and doing this type of work in communities of people that look like me. And so I just wanted to, I was hoping there would be something a little different as well, and you probably have this, just how you reach out to the members of that community so that there's this sort of, not skepticism, but you want to be a part of these clinical trials and those type things.
Yes, so we know that 98% of the data that goes into research and drug discovery is on European ancestry. So less than 2% of it is of anybody else of other descent. And we know that your genomics plays a significant role into how you metabolize drugs, how well it is effective for you, and what your side effect profile is. And so the goal of this project really is twofold, to look at rural communities in Alabama and underserved minority communities. So when we begin speaking about underserved minority communities, that speaks directly to the city of Birmingham, and making sure that we're closing that equity gap around access to precision medicine and genomics.
Thank you. Thank you.
I feel like we've been applying for a lot of federal grants for healthcare. Does this couple with those grants we received or we were applying for?
So we received $20 million from the state of Alabama to fund the entire state. And this project is currently the center project for Tech Hubs Birmingham that we will submit beginning of Thursday morning to the federal government to potentially, for the city of Birmingham to become named one of the Tech Hubs.
Gotcha. I remember learning about that at one of our conferences. Our federal lobbyists were briefing us on that, so I'm happy we're finally applying for
Yeah,
that
it could
application.
potentially bring $75 million more dollars into the state for this.
That's good. Dang, I forgot where I was going. And when do you expect to start this program?
So we're in the works of building the platform now. My group will begin once our IRB is submitted, hopefully at the end of spring. We'll begin community and provider engagement. We're actually already meeting with our provider advisory board and our community advisory boards, and then we hope to begin sequencing by Q3 of this year.
Okay, and how will you select those students that will be trained as community health workers?
So they'll apply through our same kind of internship program. It'll be posted through Southern Research's website, but we're going to make an active point of first working with our local HBCU, because we know we're going into minority underserved communities, and we want to make sure that those students are activated first so that they can learn about what's going on in their communities and be able to go out and educate. So we'll be working with the local universities to make sure that we're getting students that are not just wanting a job, but are really interested in what's going on in biotech in our area.
Okay, that's great to hear.
Thank you.
Any additional questions? Okay, there's been a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. The item passes. Thank you, guys. And then next we'll go back to item number 11 that we tabled. Ms. McDaniels, do you have that information requested?
As close as I can get to the answer, Madam Chair, Councilor Abbott, for the public input sessions, the group is targeting the East Lake, Oak Ridge Park, East Avondale, and South Woodlawn neighborhoods. In addition to those neighborhoods, Harris Homes, Oliver Elementary School, and the parents of school-aged children are the targeted groups for the input sessions.
Councilor Abbott, did you have any additional questions?
Okay, well, so public input will include regular residents or only community leaders?
I'm of the impression, Madam Chair, Councilor Abbott, I'm of the impression based on the wide range of information I received back from the District 5 office is that it's for residents in those areas. I would find it hard to imagine that would only be neighborhood leaders. For example, Harris Homes, that is a public housing community. Oliver Elementary School, I think that's a school that holds 300 or more students. So I don't think it's limited to a small group, but I can't speak to how specific or targeted the groups are. It's just the answer I got back from the District 5 office.
Well, maybe we can find out tonight. Thank you.
Right.
Madam President?
Yes, I had a question. I guess I just needed some clarity. Is this a discretionary from D5? I'm sorry, I didn't see that on the page. Okay, thank you.
Okay. If there are any additional questions, there was a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. The item passes. Next is old and new business. Laquita, those couple of requests that we made, can you just make note of those and follow up with Chief about them? Chief and Madam Pro Tem and Mr. President's office about that. Okay. The next Budget and Finance Committee meeting will actually be on Monday, March 25th. I think majority of the council will be at NLC on March 11th. So is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you, guys.